this. I think I have to say, I have to always caveat that I love the manager. I think he's great and stuff because any time you say anything, it's like you hate him. No, I think, but I would say this. I think he slightly bottled the lineup because I kind of thought we all went. We don't want to see. Why are we seeing Dyer in this team? Davis, blah blah blah. He pulled Phillips from the under 23, under 21s, or whatever, and I went, okay. Do you know what? I don't mind it if he puts in an Ashley Phillips. Give this young lad a go. Maybe Lo Celso's going to start surely as the replacement number 10. And he went with three relatively, in air quotes, defensive midfielders. And you could argue if this was last season, I would have been critical of Antonio Conte for putting in three defensive midfielders in central midfield and playing those sort of ones and not giving another player a go. So I have to be honest with it and say I think the manager bottled the selection and went, you know what? But hindsight's a beautiful thing because if we go and win the game, no one talks about it. And we got overtime and
but it's not hindsight, Percy. When you and I said it right when the team was selected. I mean,
no. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
One thing I would say though is that I thought that whilst we were creatively bankrupt, when we had the 3-odd, we were way more stable. Like at the end of that game, whether it's tiredness or this or that, we were more creative with Lo Celso and Bentancur, but the team was more open. Like they were like when we didn't have the DMs on, when we didn't play level, we were getting cut open a lot. I thought, and that could have been because of game state. Wolves were chasing the game.
But this is what I was told though. Like we're playing much more attacking and out and expansive football. Like we're not being more pragmatic, so to speak.
Hang on, Jay, hang on. This is the thing that I want to discuss with you lot, right? This is the thing. Everything that I've been told for the last week on any channel I've been on, right, is Ange isn't going to compromise his beliefs. This is how we play. Ange is brave. He only wants to play attacking football. Then you've got the chance to go, all right, cool. Let's do it. And he doesn't. So I'm really conflicted from what he did against Chelsea. The excuses I was hearing for what he did doesn't then match up with them what he did, Jay, against Wolves. Which one is it?
So great point. I think for me, I would push back and I'd say, okay, so if I'm putting myself in Ange's shoes and I'm trying to be like, okay, how did Ange come up with this lineup and why does it not make him a hypocrite? Is the way I'm kind of thinking. Right. And I'll be like, right. Sure. So out of possession. So I think in theory, if you take into account Bentancur's, still coming back to fitness, you're basically saying, he's gone with the best player, the best three out of possession. Yeah. And do you see what I mean? So it's almost like I'm not saying that he's abdicated responsibility for the offensive side, but he said, right, if we've got Dyer and Davies starting, and we're gonna need to be better out of possession, and he's picked the three players who are the best out of possession in that midfield.
Sure, I get it.
So creatively, no, we didn't. It didn't work. So Bazuma, arguably, even though he wasn't having a great game, was giving stability to the team that we lost when Lo Celso and Bentancur came on. So whilst Gio, Gil, Bentancur on the pitch at the same time, that's what the fans want from an aesthetic point of view. But from an off the ball, out of possession point of view, it hurt us.
So Ange can adapt tactics. So Ange, what I've been told all week is you don't understand. Not by you. You don't understand Ange. This isn't what Ange does. And still, I mean, come on, like, surely, can you have it both ways?
Right. When Ange came out and said what he said about the Chelsea game, after the game, he made that, it's what's become a bit of an infamous quote now. I'll still do the same Fad 5 men, right? And in the WhatsApp group, I said to you guys, he's not going to do the high line against Wolves.
Yeah,
right?
he did.
People, I think, just need to read between the lines a little bit. I've kind of figured out Ange a bit. Sometimes he'll be really genuine and genuinely say what he thinks about a situation. Other times he'll just wants to get the media off his back. That was get the media off my back moment. Against Luton, I said this, we went down to 10 men. He didn't play that high line. But against Chelsea, it was a complete opposite when we went down to 10 men in 9 men. So he's proven he will adapt. He's shown us. Unfortunately, what fans, what a lot of fans do is, especially rivals, to look to, they want to beat us. They'll grab hold of something that they can spin on us. I knew he wasn't going to do that against Wolves, and I put it in a WhatsApp group. I go, he's not going to do it, and he didn't, because it would have been nuts if he did it. I got why he did it against Chelsea. Yes, it backfired, but I understood what he was thinking with it. So for me, I think that, did he pick the wrong lineup? Do you know what? We're going to find out the next game, because I said before the game against Wolves, I want Phillips starting at the back, and I want Lo Celso as the attacking mid, because we need an attacking mid to replace Maddison, and I don't want to see Darren Davies. I don't want to see it. I'm sick of that. But I also said, but I know what he's going to do. He's going to play Darren Davies, and he's going to go with Højbjerg. And he literally, go on to Kate, girl from next door show, Spurs, just a girl that loves Spurs. I said it on her show on Friday. Yeah, I said it on her show on Friday. He did exactly that. And the reason I knew he was going to do that is because, one, he was going to go with players that he trusted for this. He was going to go, and Perchie, maybe that is a bit of a bottle job, maybe, right? Going with the trusted rather than taking the risk, maybe. But in the defence, do you know what? I thought about this long and hard. Why didn't you start Phillips, man? I don't get it. And then, do you know what? I don't think Phillips is ready. And the reason being, he's got no problem starting young players. Udogie, Van der Ven, Pape Sarr. He's got no problem starting young players. Why won't he start this kid? I don't think he's ready. And if you think of Arsenal when they signed Saliba, for 2 years he didn't play for Arsenal. They sent him on loan, or he was just training with them for the beginning bit. And Arsenal fans were saying, "Why don't you play him? Why isn't Saliba playing, man? What a waste of money!" Now they're waxing lyrical about him. We all are. Just maybe Phillips isn't ready, and he needs.
Still, I get that. I'm not doubting that. But the thing is, and somebody said to me yesterday, "Oh, have you ever thought that Phillips might not be ready?" Yeah, cool. But you know what? This is what the club bought. You know what I mean? This is the problem I think Spurs fans have,
isn't he?
No, I get it. Yeah, still, I get it. I'm not saying he isn't one for the future. But when you're looking in the summer and going, we need 2 centre backs. Like some people were saying, we need 3.
Oh yeah, I agree.
When he's the second one brought in, and we will get to transfers a bit later.
We should have bought over as well, Steve. I fully agree.
I agree. But before we move on to the next point, I did want to talk about from the lineup perspective as well. Was anyone else surprised? Because we've been hearing for the week before that Ben Davies is injured, Ben Davies isn't going to play. And then it really was the conversation of, right, who goes in, right? Is it going to be Phillips? Is it going to be Dorrington? Is it going to be Emerson Royal coming in the middle? What, blah, 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 blah. Is anyone else, did you immediately go, as soon as Ange said on Friday morning in his press conference that Ben Davies is fit, is that the moment, like me, did you all go, there you go, Davis Dyer. Whether Davis was going to be left back or centre back, you knew Ben Davis and Eric Dyer were going to play again. And again, for me, my only worry with this is it's back to that word of everyone keeps saying it's about being brave. But that wasn't brave, was it? Again, it was very it was backwards. Rather than moving forward, it was backwards. I'm not blaming them for the defeat, by the way, but
I think he means brave in the style of play, not necessarily brave in the sense of team selection. I think that's what he's saying.
But
possibly. Go on, Perchy.
Listen, I would just say this: like the club must have assumed that Ashley Phillips was going to play. By the way, Ashley Phillips, I think. No. But the club. Sorry,
don't get still started.
You know what I mean?
The manager knew. I think the manager was going to start Ashley Phillips on yesterday, until he got news that Ben Davies was fit. Because why would he pull him out of the under-21? Why would he pull him out of the under-21s and if he's not ready?
Because you need a centre-back on the bench in case...
Yeah, but he put Dorrington on the bench and Dorrington played that game. So that's a good point. You know what I mean?
Dorrington came on, did he?
So that's a fair point, Perchy.
Dorrington was in that game, I'm sure.
And then he was on the bench yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So basically, he's almost saying... I understand. I think that... But is there an element of Detroit Parrots about this with the Spurs fans and with Ashley? And I think Stel makes a fantastic point about Phillips not being ready, because the evidence is there that the manager thinks Same with Donnelly. The thing is we saw these kids versus Cambridge. We've seen them versus League One sides, League Two sides, and these players don't look overly ready. Like physically, Phillips is probably ready. On the ball, he's nowhere near Dyer. Like Dyer's considerably better on the ball than Phillips. So
about that.
Oh, I think he is. I think.
How do we know? How do we know that for sure? Like that's not. I'm not disagreeing with you.
You're right. We don't know. You're right.
In terms of my observations of watching the under 21s and stuff, I think Dorrington's good on the ball, and I think Phillips is more physically ready. But I think if you could smash Dorrington and Phillips together, they'd be the perfect player at this point. But
Jay, this is what the club gave us. This is the point, and we're going to get into transfers more later. But this is the difference, Jay. The difference with, and listen, I'm all over your first part. I thought 50% of what you said, I bang on. I agree, because when fans, do you remember about 3 or 4 years ago, people going, "We don't need a backup striker. We've got Troy Parrott," and it was like, "What? Hang on, he's not good enough." But Troy Parrott came through the youth team, right? Mm-hmm. This Phillips is somebody that they've actively gone, we need centre backs. There's your second centre back. Yeah. There's your second signing of centre back. So, what are we meant to think? Did
we as fans assume that was the second centre back rather than thinking?
But it was.
Yeah, but I
think they bought him. I think they bought him as one for a year or two time.
Right, I think.
So instead of being the second centre back, it was just not in the minds for now, and we just bought one centre back.
Well, but I also think
Ben Davies
to be fair to the club, but to be fair to the club style and Sava, is that I would say that I don't know enough about behind the scenes of the transfers of what we do. I know Lloyd Kelly. I prefer our approach now of what we're trying to do, and I appreciate that in the past few years, maybe the club hasn't pushed the boat out. But I also think that what the club has done at times is buy the wrong player and then have to pay for that for the next few years. And that's not to say that there's no centre-backs in the world, but it's almost like if the club has a tight list of players that they want, then I'm okay with, it's better for us to not have the play. It's better for us to not have a player. It's better for us not to have the player and suffer. Is it like last? I think it was in January last year when we finished top 4 over Arsenal. I can't remember what position it was. It might have been striker, but Arsenal needed a player, and they didn't get that player, and we finished above them, and they suffered for not having that player. But in the summer, they went and bought Jesus, so they went and got the exact player they wanted and needed. Yeah, I think they would like Dusan Vlahovic. They were sniffing around, but in the summer they went and got what they needed, and they suffered. And I think that the club we should have. I think it was a failure of the club to not buy a second centre back. I don't co-sign losing Sanchez was as big an issue as people think, because him and Dyer have different issues. So Sanchez is great pace and recovery, but he's not good on the ball. Dyer better on the ball, doesn't have the pace and recovery. So no matter what, you're always gonna. It's like having a duvet. Like either your chest is exposed or your feet are exposed. The blanket's not long enough. So I think obviously you guys are making good points, and it's definitely food for thought.